Hi, guys. So, as you know, today we're talking about figurative language. We're going to take a few seconds to look back at page 63 to a example of figurative language, and then we're going to read the epilogue of the story, and then you'll move on in the Nearpod. This will be a quick video. So, I want to draw your attention to paragraph 16. I'm going to read paragraph 16, but as you can see, I already have highlighted this phrase right here. This is the phrase we're going to be talking about. Phyllis had hoped this might be true. Doubts danced in her head, but she had studied as hard as she could, and she would just have to have faith. As she said her prayers, her worries began to fade, and she drifted off to sleep, dreaming of her very own book. So, right here, this sentence or this phrase is danced in her head. This is an example of figurative language, specifically of personification. Now, personification is when a word or a thing that doesn't normally have person qualities acts like a person in a text. So, doubting yourself, danced in her head. Now, are the doubts really dancing? No, but this is a way to show and give feeling and have you think about what that's like. So, what does this personification help you understand about Phyllis? I want you to take that note in your margins. So, what is this personification? What does it tell you about Phyllis? What is doubts danced in her head? What is that telling you about her? Take a little note in the margin. What we're going to do is that's going to be a question that you're going to have in your Nearpod. So make sure you have that note because it'll be really easy for you to just type it into the Nearpod. We're going to move back to page 68, the epilogue. Remember, an epilogue is kind of like the after part of the story. It's like the story happens, and then the epilogue is like, okay, after the story, here's some more information. No record exists of her examination, but we now know that Phyllis passed her test with flying colors, as the 18 men signed a document testifying to Wheatley's authorship, which appeared in the back of her volume of poems published in 1773. So that document, these men signing that she could, these poems were actually hers, she put it in the end of her book. It's like the last page in her book was that document. She went abroad to England to meet with literary patrons, and after returning to America, she was freed by her master. When both her master and mistress died, Wheatley married a Boston shopkeeper. Phyllis Wheatley wrote several patriotic poems during the American Revolution and was invited by George Washington to visit him at his headquarters, another journey the poet gladly made. After America achieved independence, Phyllis hoped to publish another volume of verse, but she died in December 1784 before the second collection could appear, and her unpublished poems disappeared. So take a note in the margins here. What are your final thoughts on this? What do you think of Phyllis? Do you have any questions? Once you've done that, move on in the Nearpod.